inaugurating our diplomatic office in D.C., in Washington, D.C. That is the capital of the world. So I really appreciate everyone who has made it here today. I know people have traveled from far and near to experience this historic occasion. And it is very symbolic for our struggle, because this is where we are going to initiate far-reaching decisions and policies that are going to shape our revolution. So, Mr. President, we are delighted to have you here today. If you don't mind, walk to the central spot here and have a seat.
Oh, are we making a king here? Is this a coronation?
Well,
the chairman of the Station Council today.
And I also wish to introduce another important personality here. Is the Honorable Vice Chair of the Restoration Council, Honorable Chris Adjoa. Have a seat over there. Okay. So at this moment, I will ask us to retire to our seats, and then we invite a man of God, Reverend Carr, to pray for us.
Anthem first. Anthem.
Okay, Reverend, you have the floor.
Let us pray. Great Father, great King, we thank you for this opportunity that you've been able to carry us throughout the year to this month of December. We thank you that you've given us in our hearts love for humanity. And we thank you that, oh God, as you've created us free and given us the liberty to live as a people, you continue to put this in our hearts to say the things that liberate humanity. Especially upon this day where we come to pray for this place, where your children will gather, discuss possible means of building peace, possible means of celebrating you, liberating the people who have been oppressed, possible means, oh God, on crying to you for a good lifestyle. As we come this day, we pray you, may every deliberation, everything that will be said and done in this place, may it glorify you. May it be there to liberate man. May it be there always, oh God, to assure us that you can never abandon your own. Yes, because you are God. We trust that today will be a historic day where your children will always remember that you were among them and you will always be with them till the end of time. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend, for the eloquent words of grace from we have our prayer, and now it is time for us to honor this great nation that is going to be the youngest and going to be the best country that anybody can ever imagine. And we are making steps, very powerful steps, moving towards Boya. So we're going to honor this new baby with the anthem. So,
Hail, hail, hail this land of glory, with the Amazonians, treasure loyalty. Praise the Son and Savior, who granted us a freedom, allegiance to the heroes, who bought the land with their blood. Glory to glory will rise and never to fall. Here is the nation flowing with milk and honey. Glory, glory, glory to the Father for making you a nation and joy forevermore. Amazonia, land of freedom, you shall live in plenty, meeting our needs, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation. Amazonia, land of freedom, we shall live in plenty, meeting our needs, and your children shall be like the stars above. The Most High God be the watchman of this nation.
Thank you. I didn't know we all have these angelic voices, and we have made this place to vibrate. Ambazonian anthem is a very, very beautiful song, which symbolizes a lot for our people. That's why we have made a lot of sacrifices. Lives have been lost, property has been lost, time has been lost, money has been lost, everything has been lost. And we cannot afford to let it go. We have to continue and push it. So at this moment, I'm going to invite the chairperson of the Restoration Council, here represented by the Honorable Chris Adjoa, who is the Vice Chair of the Restoration Council. Please, you have the floor. You talk.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, all members of the executive branch present, all the members of the Restoration Council present, honorable Ambazonians, all citizens of Ambazonia. Today is a great day for us, a great day in opening this diplomatic mission here in the United States, in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. We are taking baby steps, but these are very strong baby steps. And as we open our diplomatic mission here in the United States, we as diplomats, all of us Ambazonians as diplomats, our goal is for peace. World peace, the peace of our country, the peace of our nation with respect to other countries, and the promotion of democracy and human rights. That's our goal. We do not want to create enmity. Our goal is not for conflict, but Ambazonians, while fighting for our rights, fighting for democracy and our freedom, we will use every means available and possible in order to bring that freedom that we seek, to bring the peace and the happiness that every living person on this earth deserves. Therefore, our mission will be towards those goals. And we pledge our loyalty and our allegiance to our country and our flag. We respect the existence, the peaceful existence of every nation on earth, but we will also defend our own interests and the well-being and security of our people and our nation. Therefore, we would like to call on all Ambazonians to work towards those goals so that Ambazonia will shine in the world as a nation of peace, as a nation that promotes democracy, and as a nation that promotes human rights. We thank you all. Today is a great day, and we thank the Almighty God and continue to pray for the blessing to our nation and the world. Thank you all very much.
Okay, we'd like for her to come up and say something.
Fellow Amazonians, my president, Honorable RC Chair, I'm so grateful to be here today. And I'm sure all of you are grateful to be here today with the president. Yes. This is shaking everybody, and you guys know it. It's shaking our enemies, it's shaking the republic, and we should be proud of ourselves. We should be proud of our president for working so hard to take us to this level. When we go home, we should pray for God to protect him and guide him, because this is the man. This is the man who will take us far and beyond. This is the man. So I just want to thank all of you here, the ladies who decorate my table, who did a very wonderful job to decorate this office today. The ladies who prepared the food, SOS for Communication, who brought us here from all the way from Pennsylvania. So I just want to join the president and RC Chairperson to welcome all of you. And this is just a wonderful day. Thank you guys very much. And then, our enemies are doing something to distract the public, but we are here. They're doing something, they're having their own end of year party just to distract, but we are here and we're moving forward. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for the great job you've done, you and your.
Comrade Chris, I start with you. The restoration chair, vice chair, and fellow Amazonians, I greet you all. I am standing here on behalf of SCAPO to greet all Amazonians, and especially to give a hand of kudos to Comrade Chris. We have been working with him. We had a meeting with the Hudson Institute, and since then we have been moving forward. To those detractors who are claiming that this is a hoax, I just want to advise them that they need to make more effort and then find out. We are not working in isolation. Yes. We're working with a lobbyist firm that is guiding our paths, guiding our steps, and advising us. We're working too with our famous friend, former Secretary Thibault Nash, and then those who are not willing to get on board, they will soon realize that they are late. So we're advising them to get on board, and then to move together. Comrade Chris has said it often and often. He is a revolutionary. He is not a president of a country, because we are still struggling to restore that country which was stolen from us. And he prefers to that. We respect him as comrade, and I appreciate that. So, in that light, we encourage him, and we will continue as SCAPO to give our support to him, because we realize that we are all moving towards the right path. We encourage every other person. Let those who claiming that they are whatever remain in the back, but their destruction will not affect this noble cause which we are embarking on. Comrade Chris, kudos for the effort you have done. This is an office. We are not saying that this is a diplomatic nation of a sovereign state. No, that is what they are confusing. Even PLO, that's the Palestinian Liberation Organization, ANC, South Africa, FNL, Angola movement, political movement, had offices in countries, and they were working with those countries that gave them places. So there's nothing strange in the US giving us an office as a movement, recognizing us as a movement, fighting to liberate our country. And when we shall get through and get back our country, become a sovereign state, that's when we'll get our full diplomatic mission. So those people who are foolish to not find out and know the truth about this, that is their problem. Let them continue to live in their ignorance. So kudos, comrade. This is our movement's office, and from here, many more things will be done. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senior Comrade Sheriff.
Fellow revolutionaries, fellow sisters and brothers, it is always a pleasure for me really to be here and to congratulate actually my dearest Chris, my brother really, and to see that something tangible is being put forward. I'm thinking of my two sisters in the back there, Rebecca and Emily, who with whom I share the basement hand. Where we were fundraising in the basement of the houses, and it is only now that she reminded me that in 2018 we were in her basement in Philly, Philadelphia, raising money. I did not even know, but you welcome me, as you can see. And she will say it better. We are not in the basement anymore. We are on the second floor. And thanks to the effort that all of you did, thanks to the leadership of Chris and of anybody who on Ground Zero really dedicated life, dedicated property, dedicated time, dedicated life again for this to happen. And I think with such sacrifice, we have the obligation to have results. This is only a step. I'm a writer, and a writer has no money but only words to put on the table. A writer also has the moral commitment to defend a cause that is just, which is why I'm here, and I'll always be with you. Thank you. Just so that.
Thank you, Professor Ganang. As you well know, it's an honorary Amazonian. At this point, we would like to give the floor to none other than the President himself to talk to us about this very significant occasion. So, Mr. President. I don't think it is necessary for those who can be seated. I think we can now sit, and I don't think it's okay.
All right, fellow comrades, it's quite exciting to have every one of you here today. It's a very, very exciting day. Before I come on to address the occasion, we have one of our princes here among us, and I think it is but fair that we give our traditional authorities represented here at least a minute to speak on behalf of the Amazonian Traditional Authority. I'm referring to the Prince of the PLM, who we all know here. Please share a word with us before I go on.
Fellow Amazonians, thanks Mr. President and Chair. My brothers and sisters, my being here today was actually to come here and be an eyewitness to what is taking place. We are not doing this from a basement. We are doing this from the second floor in the 600 block of Massachusetts Avenue in Washington, D.C. I will use this opportunity to call all Ambazonians that this office is not for a particular group, it's for all Ambazonians. So if we could all unite,
I was looking for you.
We just instead
yes. This
ahead.
is ready for the
So I'm calling on other leaders, please. We are not doing this for a particular group. We are doing for every person.
If I don't come, you guys will not enjoy that. So I came with it.
And I'm here
He's still
to tell
waiting
you
there.
that even though our
He can come
traditional
up.
rulers
He can come up.
have all been put
No,
under
he said-
lock and key,
He said he's fine there.
the tradition still holds.
He said he's
And
fine.
the tradition will always be the people. We were put there in order to take care of
Do again.
you people and not ourselves. Therefore, we will always be with you, protect our integrity, our flag, and every Ambazonian. And I pray that when we live here, we all preach for the unity that all Ambazonians may be one. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prince. And once more, I truly would like to welcome every one of you who is present here tonight or this afternoon. It's a historic day in our struggle. This has been going on for 7 years and counting now. And I don't think that the Republic ever thought that 7 years after, 2 cubes of sugar will refuse to dissolve. I think they must have learned their lessons now, that if for 7 years and counting, the 2 cubes of sugar haven't dissolved, it is very obvious. If it takes another 7 years, if it takes another 14 years, we will be when we begin to set up permanent structures like where we are today, I think it should send a very strong message to La Republic that we are in this till the end. Yes. We will not cut and run. We will not cut and run, and Ambazonians will not cut and run. We are into this till the end of it. And comrades, let me assure all of you that revolutions are not for the majority. Did you hear me? Yes. Revolutions, struggles like these ones are not meant for the majority. From the beginning of this struggle in 2016-17, every Ambazonian was out there shouting, protesting, marching, putting money out. How many can we count today? Many have fallen by the wayside. But has it stopped the struggle? No, absolutely not. It hasn't stopped the struggle. That is to tell La Republique du Cameroon that even if we are left, only 3 of us, 2 of us, 7 of us, we will see the end of this struggle that will lead to a free and independent Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed Ambazonians, distinguished guests, and supporters of Ambazonia's quest for freedom and independence, I stand before you today with a profound sense of purpose and determination as we witness the historic launch of the Ambazonia diplomatic mission here in the world's capital, Washington, D.C. Today marks a pivotal moment in our relentless pursuit of diplomatic avenues to support our free and independent Ambazonia. From this place, from this office, we will embark on a mission to engage with the international community, advocating for the recognition of Ambazonia's sovereignty and the protection of the rights of the people of Ambazonia. We are here to assert our legitimate aspirations and to demonstrate
our unwavering commitment to the cause of Ambazonia's liberation. To the government of La République du Cameroon, we issue a solemn warning. We are not terrorists, neither are we separatists. We are freedom fighters. We are liberation fighters. Our cause is rooted in the fundamental principles of justice, self-determination, and human rights. We will utilize every peaceful means available to us to achieve our goal of a free and independent Ambazonia. And we call upon the international community to support our just cause. I appeal to Ambazonians worldwide to embrace and wholeheartedly support the mission of this office, for it belongs to every one of us. It is a symbol, this office, this mission is a symbol of our collective determination and resilience in the face of adversity. From here, from this mission, we will amplify our voices and advance our cause on a global stage, forging alliances and building solidarity with other nations and organizations that share our commitment to freedom and justice. Before gathering here today, some suggested that we should launch this diplomatic mission secretly, and quietly too. That means concealing the venue, the location, and avoiding public attention for fear of what La République du Cameroon can do. However, we emphatically rejected the idea. We refuse to remain silent or hidden, for the world must see us and hear us. Today, the symbolic gesture of what we do here will resound across the globe. It echoes the unwavering resolve of all of us, the Ambazonian people, to reclaim our homeland. And this symbolic action signifies our steadfast refusal to entertain anything less than total freedom for Ambazonia in any negotiations with La République du Cameroon. Coming here today, we learned that La République du Cameroon has ordered her ambassador here in Washington, D.C., right here in this city, to petition the United States Department of State about this office, about this mission. May I remind the colonizers and the fraudsters that rule that country that we are legally registered right here in the United States of America. We are a legally registered entity, and that we do everything here to the letter of the law. And that America does not take orders nor fraternize with banana republics such as Cameroon. We are not worried at all what schemes La République du Cameroon has in motion. We are rather worried about how long our people still have to endure Cameroon war and killings on our people. This worry caused us to unite on this momentous occasion. Let us remember the sacrifices of our forebears, the sacrifices of our restoration fighters, the suffering of our people, and the resilience of our communities. Let their courage and determination inspire us to press forward with unyielding resolve, undeterred by the challenges that lie ahead. Our cause is just, our struggle is noble, and our aspirations are rooted in the universal principles of freedom, dignity, and self-determination. Let us seize this historic moment, ladies and gentlemen, as a catalyst for greater unity, determination, and action. Let us remain steadfast in our commitment to the cause of Ambazonia's freedom. And let the launch of this diplomatic mission serve as a beacon of hope for our people and a clarion call to the world. Together, we will prevail, and the dawn of a free and independent Ambazonia will shine brightly upon us all. Thank you all for coming. Long live the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Short live the war.
No, don't worry. Video from there.
You can be silent.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Silent.
What we are doing here, this is a symbolic act that we believe will lead to a solid foundation. Somebody has said we are not calling this an embassy, rather we are calling it a mission. That is very correct. Our prayer and hope are that this will move from just being a mission to a permanent embassy. Yes. And for the naysayers, the Sambalats and the Tobias, we say to them, this is no feeble act that we are performing here. This is a symbolic action that shows a permanent seat that establishes the nation, the country called Ambazonia. And so as I cut this ribbon today, ladies and gentlemen, we decree that this will be a seed that will germinate, and it will grow, and we will move from a mission to a permanent embassy, not just in America, but across the globe, in the name of Jesus of Nazareth.
And with that said, let's count down from 3 to 1. 3, 2, 1.
No, that's fine. That's fine. They can sing. They can sing. Oh, they can sing.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the mission of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia.
You can go inside. You can go inside. They can go in. Go in. Go in. Go inside. Go inside. Yeah, feel free. Feel free.
Finally, the love has done it. Finally,
This is a very nice movie.
Yeah. Sing.
finally.
This is life. This is life in DC.
The fellow ambassadors, it happened just as you saw it there. Those pictures are not made up. As you can see, real people, real ambassadors present in Washington, D.C. on the 9th of this month. Good afternoon, fellow ambassadors. It's good to have you here with me on the set of The War Zone right here on ABS TV. This Tuesday, December the 12th, 2023. I hope you are all delighted, as I am, to be here today, despite the fact that we are starting a little late, but we will make sure it is worth your time. Fellow ambassadors, we have a few things to cover. We will get to the story you just watched there, those beautiful pictures from Washington, D.C. There's a lot more to share, but we will start with a few other stories that are equally important in this struggle, and we will culminate with, of course, the coverage of the launching of our diplomatic mission in Washington, D.C. just this past weekend. Now, to start it all, I want, first of all, to give my salutations to our brave warriors on the ground who are resisting and making it clear to La Republic of Cameroon that they do not belong, they are not welcome in our territory. And also defending our citizens who are periodically targeted by La Republic of Cameroon for all the massacres that we have seen, all the burning of villages that we've seen. But our brave warriors are standing their ground and saying, never again shall we allow ourselves to remain defenseless like we were in the days of Ahijo when he took his gendarmes and military and they marched into our territory and occupied it to this day. We will never again allow that to happen. So I have with me, I'm supposed to have with me, Sama Thomas, who is supposed to be joining me. Equally, Dr. Ngwambe should be joining me. But whichever of them, and also Chairman Patrick is supposed to be here sometime very soon. So we will start with Honorable Sama Thomas, who should be in by now. Honorable Sama Thomas, let me see you. Let me see you. Okay, Honorable Sama Thomas is seated and ready. I know that Dr. Ngwambe will be joining. He just left work. He's probably getting set up in his car because there's no time for him to make it home to be in his own studio. But Dr. Ngwambe, I don't know if you are ready. If you are there, Let me see you. Dr. Ngwambe is probably still getting set up, but he should be joining us momentarily. Before we start, there's something I have to say here, and it concerns our refugees in Nigeria, especially those in Adagon 1. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Adagon 1. There is something that is going on there. One or more of our refugees in Adagon 1 is being targeted for persecution. He's being targeted for persecution by the Nigerian authorities working in collaboration with the refugee management authority there. And we are pleading with them to treat our refugees with care, treat them humanely. There is no need why people who have run away from trauma will come to seek refuge, and some of them will be targeted for persecution. Please, we are pleading with you to treat our refugees humanely. If there are issues between the refugees, they should find a way to resolve them amicably. And one more thing I'd like to say here is this. To you, the refugees in Nigeria or wherever you are, please try to have each other's backs. Take care of each other. There is no reason why any Ambazonian refugee should see the need to report the other to a Nigerian authority so that person could be persecuted. It doesn't just look good at all. You are brothers and sisters in a foreign land trying to survive during the period of this conflict so that you can all come back home when the conflict is over. You should be able to take care of each other. If there are differences amongst you, you should be able to resolve them without bringing in people who may not reason in the same way as you, who may end up treating your brother or your sister more harshly than is necessary. So I'm pleading with you and those who are listening to me from the refugee camps and those who can transmit this message to them, please urge them to work together. Try to work together so that you can all present an argument for your own rights and protections while in this temporal situation. So please, I'm really it's just painful that you see Ambazonians even out of your own country in a foreign land where you ought to band together. You should allow interpersonal conflicts to compel you to see the need to report maybe your brother or your sister to a foreign authority where they may be treated so harshly when it's not necessary. So please, take care of each other. I plead with you. Now, having said that, I will like for us to look at what is going on in La République du Cameroon. Fellow Ambazonians, we had told you previously that the country called La République du Cameroon is going down the drain. It is going down the drain. There is no leadership in that country. And even those who are considered leaders are either mediocre leaders, people who do not have the interest of those they claim to lead at heart. Most of them are thieves, murderers. You saw recently where this guy who ordered the murder and dismemberment of a journalist and was taken to prison. We heard rumors that he was about to be released. He didn't even spend up to a year in jail. And I hear there's a contention between a faction of the junta where some are favoring his release and some are not. But can you imagine that? Somebody who caused the murder and dismemberment of a journalist. And by the way, you saw how he went to jail. When he went to jail, before he got there, they sent in trucks into the jail to upgrade his living quarters, to make it as so comfortable that it's not as if he's in jail. And I said this guy was simply taken from the public eye so that a storm will blow over. Then they will bring him out. And that is exactly what is happening. That is La République du Cameroon today. I don't know if the studio can show for us. Honorable Samatamas, you bear with me. Let's put these images on the screen of long lines in La Republic of Cameroon, where there is no gas, what they call petrol. They are standing in long lines waiting for petrol. And that is La Republic of Cameroon. Can you imagine that? That is La Republic of Cameroon. There is no petrol in La Republic of Cameroon. And it is not just in one city. You see these lines in Bafoussam. You see these lines in Douala. You see teachers protesting because they are not being paid. It is happening. The implosion of La Republique du Cameroon has begun. The implosion of La Republique du Cameroon, which we predicted some time ago, it has started. And the worst is yet to happen. It has not, it hasn't gotten there yet. It will get worse than this in the days ahead. So, Honorable Sama Thomas, you have seen these images as the rest of us, we saw a few months ago, or maybe 2 months ago, how a sewage truck, a truck that was carrying sewage, released its contents on the street next to a market where people were selling. I tell you, we have seen the state of their roads, not just around this the provinces, as they call them, but in Yaoundé itself, we have seen the state of their roads. It is only getting worse. There's no money. The economy is going down. So, Honorable Sama Thomas, what can you tell Ambazonians about what they ought to learn from the images we are seeing here?
Well, I think that Southern Cameroonians have learned more than enough of what they were supposed to learn in La Republic of Cameroon. But we've seen this practically in Bamenda, like it is in Boya, that fuel is tapped in Boya, but there is no reservoir in Boya where that fuel is being refined and also tapped.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to Bafoussam, there is a reservoir there. If that reservoir in Bafoussam is dry and the people are scrambling for fuel, what do you make of La Republique du Cameroon?
Mm-hmm.
That a banana republic that feeds France with oil, France will never complain of lack of fuel, for they've stored it for themselves. That can take them, even if they cannot exploit again in La Republique for the next 5 years, they've stored what can take them for the next 20 to 50 years in France. But a country that produces crude oil has no reservoir for 1 year. Then talk of what is going to happen to the people of the Southern Cameroons, that there is no reserve area there where the fuel is being refined. If Bafoussam does not have, if it wasn't for the fact that the people of the Southern Cameroons are close to Nigeria and buying their fuel from Nigeria, I think our own situation could have been worse than what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
The question we now ask ourselves, all Southern Cameroonians, is for how long are we going to endure this? Do we think that this will ever, till Christ's return, change in La Republique? Be ready to bear it alongside with them, to live in this situation. If we are ready, then we should play that hopkey-panky games of blaming one another. This has done, this is not correct. This has done that which is not correct. The only correct person who has done this is Jesus Christ, who is in heaven. And if Jesus Christ does not come, no correctness will ever be. We should kill all those things so as not to be part of what is coming for La Republique. If we do not kill all those things for what is coming for La Republique Cameroon, and we allow them to explode with us not ready to defend ourselves, our situation might even be worse than that of La Republica Cameroon. You know, when the American people were withdrawing from Afghanistan, Kabul was a free-for-all zone. And we, in southern Cameroons, must not allow ourselves to be a free-for-all, that anything can happen without control anywhere. We should be on your marks and be ready to fill the vacuum that La Republique will leave behind for the people of Southern Cameroon. For if we are not ready, what awaits us? I bet you Kigali in 1994 was a child's play. And we will never get up again from our feet if we allow such a thing to happen.
Thank you, Ambassador Thomas. I think Dr. Ngwambe is in now. Dr. Ngwambe should be in now. Dr. Ngwambe, let me see you if you're in. Okay, Dr. Ngwambe is in. Good timing. Like Dr. Ngwambe, let me just ask you this: you have seen the pictures. I'm sure you've seen the pictures of the chaos in La République du Cameroon, from the lack of what is called petrol, which is gas that is used for cars. Now, Dr. Ngwambe, you know a little bit about how an economy works, and you know the compounding effects of the lack of movement due to the shortage of petrol or gas, as we call it. So, because the commercial activities that should have been taking place, the movement of goods, the transactions, the business transactions that should have been taking place and making the economy to turn, are now stalled. So by this shortage of the gas and fuel, it will only compound. It will compound the effects of what has already started. There will be a domino effect because there is no movement. The economy is now stagnant. People cannot travel. Businesses cannot move goods. The thing will only accelerate. The economic decline will only accelerate. And the things will only get worse in the days ahead. And as we have said before, there is no light at the end of the tunnel for La République du Cameroon. None whatsoever. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. They have not even reached the bottom yet. Things will get worse than this in the days ahead. So any Ambazonian who is operating or living, especially within the territory of La République du Cameroon, should take note and start getting ready to move when the time comes or before things get too bad. So again, focusing on the domino effect of this shortage of gas, Dr. Ngwambe, I would like for you to weigh in. What's your take on it?
I mean, we all know how the cost of gas, it affects goods across the board. For example, I mean, in the US, you always hear it when the cost of gas goes up, the cost of bread goes up, the cost of sugar goes up, the cost of eggs go up, all those types of things. And it's the exact same thing, that's going to happen in La République du Cameroon. And by, not even say by proxy, by direct influence, we in Ambazonia are also going to feel the pain because unfortunately for us, we are still, stuck with them until we completely officialize this sovereign independence that we are fighting for. So several things that you're going to see going to go up. The cost of plantains, that is definitely going to go up, right? The cost of cassava, that is definitely going to go up. The cost of corn, beans, all these things that are transported on the roads is going to go up. And then worst of all, you all, my fellow Ambazonians, you all know the bad roads that are already there. So bad roads are already adding to the cost of goods. Now you add this fuel shortage. It's also going to add to that particular cost. And it's because of all these things that we Ambazonians are fighting to have a country for ourselves so that we can have an administration. We can have federal structures, even at the level of the states, who will have competent people who will be thinking about what will happen if such and such happens, and they plan for it so that we don't feel these kinds of effects. Because it's not as if La République du Cameroon did not know some of these things were coming. And if they had foresight they would have made sure that they have some strategic reserves. I'm sure all of my fellow Americans who have heard America talk about their strategic reserves that they keep on the side, even though they're depending heavily on, world fuel to come in. But when the world fuel prices go up, the president always has that opportunity to tap into those strategic reserves to help bring some of that fuel into the market to help keep the prices under control. And that is because the American system has foresight, right? The American system builds redundancies that can help fill in the gap when there are shortages in other places that are going to bring pain on the people. And unfortunately, because the leaders of the dictatorship of French Cameroon, they're not forward thinking. They're only thinking about preserving their access to power. Paul Biya is only focusing on making sure Frank Biya becomes the next president of that banana republic. He's not thinking about those things that are going to help benefit the people. But my fellow Ambazonians, the country that we are going to have that type of leadership. We are going to have that type of system that will be thinking about what we best can do to protect our people, what we best can do to provide prosperity for our people. And if you can see in the actions of this interim government, those are some of the things that we have been focusing on. Not only self-defense, we also focus on our humanitarian affairs. And now look at this, we've opened up a diplomatic office, we've opened up a diplomatic mission that not only is it going to be catering to getting the international community to see that it is a win-win to have an independent Ambazonia, but we are also going to be providing services to you, the Ambazonian, the average Ambazonian, because you all need the benefit from what we've done in addition to the international aspect of it that's going to benefit our liberation struggle. And that's the type of government that we want. That's the type of leadership that we want in the Ambazonia that we are going to have. Over to you, Mike.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. But the one thing I want for us to highlight to our viewers, fellow Ambazonians listening, is this. At this moment, at this critical juncture in this struggle, when we start seeing the signs of implosion, it is like when you are in the sharks in the ocean. When they smell blood, they know there's something to feed on around, right? So this is the time for Ambazonians to go in for the kill. We have wounded this lion as we wanted to wound it. This is the time for us to finish the job. And I want for us here to make a call to all Ambazonians listening and watching us right now. If for any reason, at some point, you became discouraged and you thought, oh, maybe this thing is taking too long. Maybe there are too many internal squabbles and that I will see the need to stand out. You can see the signs of La République imploding. This is the moment for us to regroup. This is the moment for us to come back together, to refocus, hold hands, and get this job done now. Let's finish this animal. This is the time to go in for the kill. To our restoration fighters, whatever differences you have on the ground, put them aside. Let us work together. Work together with your fellow soldiers, fellow comrades, brothers and sisters. Work with the community. Establish good relationships with your people. Let us finish La République now. They are limping, please. This is the time to get the job done so we can move on. We cannot allow them to come up for air. We cannot allow them to come up for air at this time. We have to make sure we finish it now. If you have been standing out there for some time, this is the time for you to come back in. If you were an activist and for some reason you became lazy, pick back whatever medium of communication you had and get back to work. If you were in charge of resource mobilization, get back to work and raise resources to support the struggle. If you were an activist, go out there with messaging. This is the time for us, all hands on deck. Now.
That's right.
Let's get it done. Honorable Sabotage, what do you have to tell Ambazonians about this critical moment? This is the moment that every player waits for. That when you are in the 18-meter box, get the goal in and claim your victory, fellow Ambazonians. Put your personal differences aside. Put your personal differences aside. Honorable Sama Thomas.
I've never seen where two brothers are fighting over their father's piece of land. When the third party comes in, who is a stranger, they will still keep on fighting amongst themselves. I've never seen it. I think the Southern Cameroonian people have been fighting for too long among themselves, and the third party that was causing them to fight is at the brink of collapsing. It is time for us to stop that fight amongst ourselves, and we look at what is happening with the person that was there, removing what you are here. You are here to give to your brother. Blow it. You blow it. Remove that. Blow it. You both should start the fight, and we're there fighting. That person can no longer remove your hair, for he is now boxing himself. What do you make out of it? He will not influence you again to fight your brother. Will you keep on fighting your brother, or you will turn to get him out of your father's plot, out of your father's land? This is the moment that Southern Cameroonians must learn to come together so as to get rid of the enemy that is already on his knees fighting himself. If we fail to do it, we will never recover from this again. What am I trying to say here? Southern Cameroonians that have taken upon themselves that they will not face the enemy, but Sama Thomas or their brothers is their enemy. I am not the enemy. The enemy here is La Republique of Cameroon. Let us unite our efforts, get rid of the enemy. When the enemy is out of our father's land, we can now start back to fight ourselves, that my own portion is small or my own portion is big. We cannot be fighting over nothing of which the enemy is still the one controlling our land. We are here fighting whose position is supposed to be big, whose position is supposed to be small. That is my position, of which do not have no position in that land. Let all of us come together, fight the enemy as much as we can. I am not against the fact that when you reach Boya, you shouldn't pick up your gun against your brother. But because I will pick up my gun in Boya against my brother. But for the moment, I see no reason fighting my brother, because I'm fighting you to take what from you? Nothing. You have nothing. So I'm fighting you to take what? Gain what? My problem now is La Republique Cameroon. Let us face La Republique Cameroon, remove him out of Boya. When we must have gotten the lion, fight for the head, fight for the tail. I will have no problem with you at that time, for you have a reason to fight, for you need a pound of the flesh at that time, which the flesh is lying in front of you.
Yes, Honorable Sama Thomas, we can see the visible cracks on the walls of La Republique. The walls have cracked, and they have been cracking. The cracks are only widening. We can see the cracks widening. Why not take advantage of this moment of vulnerability, of a vacuum of leadership, of everything that is going wrong in that damn country? This is a time for us to sever ties. Take advantage of it. Dr. Gwambe, if you want to make a last statement on this topic before we transition.
Yeah, let me in building on to what our brother Sama has said, and I want to greet him and greet all Ambazonians. There's a Bedouin saying, the Bedouins are these people in Saudi. The Bedouins are these people in Saudi Arabia, and that Bedouin saying goes that my brother and I, we may be against our cousin, but when the enemy comes along, my brother, myself, and my cousin, we fight the enemy as one. My fellow Ambazonians, that is what we are supposed to inculcate and face our common enemy as supposed to be fighting each other for things that are not even really relevant. You understand now? I mean, it's as if somebody say, it's some of the things that people are even fighting over sometimes. It sounds as if, oh, you add more water to the fufu, and someone is saying, no, don't add too much water to fufu, and all these kinds of stuff like that. But all of us want to eat fufu now, right? So let us nangsa our fufu, as we say in Bafut. Let us nangsa our fufu so that we can eat it in peace, in freedom, with one another without having these external enemies of La Republique du Cameroon who are coming, and not only have they stolen the corn from our fields that we're supposed to make the fufu with, they've even stolen the machines that we want to grind the fufu with, right? They're even trying to steal our lands that we're supposed to grow that fufu corn on. And we're there fighting each other. It's ridiculous. It is really, really ridiculous. So my fellow Ambazonians, we can do it together. We are doing it together. And we are definitely going to make it, irrespective of all those people who are on the sidelines doing the funny things that they're saying. I mean, the constructive criticism, when it is constructive, is good. But ultimately, it is rolling up your sleeves and getting to work that matters more than all this criticism and detraction that we're seeing out there. So let's get together and let's get it done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And talking about land there, Dr. Nkambe, that reminded me of some reporting that came to me about a week ago that there is a scheme that is going on that is getting rid of Ambazonian land. They are selling land that belongs to the CDC. And this is somewhere between around AMBA, there's it used to be a palm plantation around between my 4 and AMBA, where they are selling that slot of land has been carved out in lots, and they're selling them for 1 million each. And that reporting came to me, and I was supposed to talk about it last week, but unfortunately we did not have a show last week. This message is going to those who are buying all those lands, and mostly La Republique du Cameroon citizens who are buying those lands. The time will come when you give them up. You will give them up when the time comes, because this is supposed to be CDC land, but I don't know what conspiracy they have made there, and they have taken over this land and they are selling it, and who knows where the money is going. They are just auctioning off our land and getting away with the money. So, but we are warning anyone who is buying land there, you are taking a huge risk. But that's a risk that you will be responsible for in the future. Now, there is something we have talked about, the need for us to come together. Naysayer and Dr. Mwembe. There is one virus that has been eating into this struggle for quite some time. And I think it is time for us to attack it head on. This is the virus of the inability for us to disagree constructively. We are not able to disagree constructively. So I want us to start addressing this matter, because if we are talking about coming together and we are not able to talk to each other constructively, talk to each other in a way that does not cause the other person to see the need to leave the struggle or something, then it becomes very difficult for us. So this thing where some of us have the attitude of talking to others in ways as if we are enemies. Just because I disagree with you does not mean that you are my enemy. I may disagree with you in opinion, but that does not mean I hate you. And that is the misconception that some of us have, that just because someone disagrees with you, that person is supposed to be your enemy. That should not be the case. It should not be the case. We should have wars of ideas, not physical wars amongst ourselves. We know who our enemy is. We should reserve our fire for the enemy and not for each other. So I had a few graphics which were prepared. I know that the studio, we will come to this story of the embassy after this story. But I just think it is important for us to emphasize on this need for us to improve on how we talk to each other and not treat each other as enemies, but as comrades who may have different opinions. We are comrades who may disagree from time to time. That does not mean we should now look at each other as if we're enemies. Because when we do that, it only serves the interest of the enemy. The only person that benefits is the enemy, La Republique du Cameroon. So I would like to have those graphics put on the screen. We may take about 10 minutes to to talk about this topic, and then we'll go to the main topic of the day, which is, of course, the inauguration of our diplomatic mission. Let's look at this graphic here, Dr. Ngwambe. The importance of achieving your goal. The importance of achieving your goal. The importance of your relationship. When you start from the bottom left corner, and you look at the options that are given here, these are the various methods that each of us uses to resolve a conflict. Some people use the avoiding method, which means one or both parties seek to suppress the conflict. You seek to just suppress it. But you know that when you suppress something and suppress it, it's like you're covering a boiling pot. At some point, it's going to burst out, and the resultant effect can be very damaging, which is what we are having here in this conflict now, because for a very long time, La Republique was trying to cover it. Now, you have another option, which is accommodating. One party just gives up to the advantage of the other. One party yields the win to the other party. This method is one-sided because it does not seek to address the conflict in a manner that is just for both parties. Then you have the compromise. Both parties give up something, and there may be it is the second best option, but not the best. One other unsatisfactory method is one where each person is competing. I'm competing that it must be me. It must be me. You two are competing that it must be you. In this way, it is a lose-lose situation because there is no collaboration. We are not sharing anything, and we are stagnant. We are stagnant. Nobody wins. And then the best option is collaborating. Collaboration is the best option. That is the one that produces a win-win for both parties. So I want to use this graphic so that we Ambazonians can see where we have been. I think what we have done this far mostly is the competing thing, where each person is striving to it must be me. That option is leads to a lose-lose situation. Because you are not harnessing or taking advantage of each other's expertise to advance together so you can both share the proceeds. But when you are fighting, I'm trying to drag you down, you're trying to drag me down, we are not making progress, fellow Ambazonians. We are not making progress by so doing. We must change our strategy henceforth. Dr. Ngwabe, I don't know if you want to say something then, Nisa Matamas.
You know, Mike, this issue is a very interesting issue to talk about, because I think one of the challenges that exist out there is people who act holier than thou, right? Mm-hmm. People who, they will insult you left and right. People who will mock you, right? People who will misrepresent the things that you are doing. Mm-hmm. People who spread lies about you, who character assassinate you, all kinds of nonsense. But then they turn around and they do the exact same good thing that you are doing. But just because they're haters, they have a professional hater diploma or professional hater degree, PhD.
Yes.
But it's just because they really don't care. And ultimately, right? Ultimately, those types of people, you are never going to convince them. You know, I think it's Maya Angelou who says that when somebody shows you who they are, you better damn well believe them. Because if you don't believe them, at some point you're going to end up with a knife in your back or poison in your food, or they'll drown you in your sleep or suffocate you in your sleep or something like that. And it's because you didn't want to believe who they were. And, you know, I get it that we are out here, we're appealing to our better angels and all that kind of stuff like that. But those better angels that we are really appealing to is to the average Ambazonian, right? The average Ambazonian who just wants us to see success. But for those people who are big time haters, big time distractors, big time detractors, big time people who, no matter what good you do, no matter what thing that you do that moves the needle ahead, we're not trying to convince them or appeal to them, right? I personally am not. I'm tired of trying to make these people read because they don't want to reason. Their own is just plain viciousness and hate. And I don't personally, I know we don't really care what they think of us or what they do because most of the time, as you see it, my fellow Ambazonians, this IG does not engage in vilifying people. We don't do it. We try to stick to we try to speak our opinions without and speaking about the ideas and not about personalities. That's what we mostly do. But you all know who those people are out there who are so focused on personality assassination, in particular the Sacotists, the Sacofants in particular, that I like to call them the Saco pastoral dictatorship movement. Those people are full of a lot of unnecessary hate, a lot of unnecessary vitriol that is not taking us anywhere. And you know what? We of this IG and those of us who believe in the independence of Ambazonia, who are fighting for the independence of Ambazonia, those of us who are fighting for us to be free, we don't care what those people think. They can be saying all the nonsense that they're saying left and right. It does not matter. Those are people who are never going to see the need to compromise. They're not. They're never going to see the need to be able to find a way for us to move forward. And that's okay. Let them stay in their lane. All Naysayer, make them do what is going to get us to that independence, because we on this side, we are doing what it's going to take to make sure that Ambazonia is going to be free. And when Ambazonia is going to be free, I want to see if the Sacotists are not going to come and enjoy that independence with us. I want to see it, because I know they're going to come in and sheepishly, they'll come and be celebrating behind the scenes, and they'll even come and make up stories that they're the ones who did it. I know they're going to do that because that's just how they are, and it's okay.
Yeah,
it's very, very okay. I mean, I understand this topic that we want to handle like that, but sometimes sometimes enough is enough, and we have to.
Sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes there's a need. There's a need to. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Sometimes you try to focus and not to be distracted by such things, so that you don't join them in the gutter. But sometimes it's just so bad that you need to step out there sometimes and straighten things. But we would try to take the high road.
We want to work with those. Bro, we want to work with those who have mutual respect for us, and we have mutual respect for them. We are not out here trying to sabotage anybody. I can tell you that from my personal observation, my fellow Ambazonians. You know me. I will not work with people who are going out there and purposefully sabotage anybody. We want to work with people who respect our right to exist, because we respect your right to exist. If you want to be an individual Ambazonian, acting as an individual and doing those things that are good to help liberate us, good. If you want to be a group, because being a group is probably the best thing, because you can pool your resources to help liberate Ambazonia, good, we want to work with you. But if you think that this IG should dissolve itself, because you think this IG is the sole problem of this liberation struggle, when you are not realizing your own things that you have done to help sabotage this liberation struggle, to make this liberation struggle fail, but you instead think that it's us that needs to die, then we cannot work with you. And I'm not going to lie down for you to walk on me, and I'm not going to allow this IG to lie down for you to walk on this IG. No, because your shit stinks too. Let me just be plain and simple. Your shit stinks too, if you don't know.
And I can get your passion, which is very important, because, like I said, for so long we have been engaged in this mudsling, which is not taking us anywhere. But as much as competition is not the best option, but competition can be positive if you are focused on trying to do the better thing than the other person. You see, but when you are competing by trying to drag down someone else or hold some other person down so that person would not shine, when you yourself you do not even have the ability to do what the other person is able to do, that is the most destructive form of competition. But if you are competing to say, okay, I am going out to take out 5 La République criminal soldiers today, and you say, oh, if you want to take down 5, I'll show you I'll take down 10. That can be a healthy competition. That can be positive. Show me that you can do better than me by doing the right thing, not by conspiracy or by going out there and trying to discourage me from doing what I'm doing, or to tell lies about what I am doing. That is, it does not help the cause at all. And we are saying here that let us stay away from such negative tendencies. They are not helping us to get to our destination. If you want to show me that you are better, do it better. Don't hold me from doing it. Don't prevent me from doing it. It doesn't serve the cause well. So, Naysayer, before you come in, I have a few points which I would like to read here, which I thought if some of the negative character flaws that we have exhibited during the course of this struggle, and I would just hope that we can self-discipline ourselves not to engage in them henceforth, especially given the fact that La Republique is now showing signs of going down into the grave. We should help push La Republique down the grave and focus on that mission and that mission only by doing the following things. First, we have to censor what you post or share in the various fora. Yes, self-censorship is very important. Censor what you share, making sure that whatever you share must be something that will help to advance the cause of our liberation. If it is just something that will help to cause people to fight, you are doing the enemy's job. You are doing the enemy's bidding. Second, you must evaluate the benefits of what you are sharing to the struggle before sharing it. Is what I'm about to share, will it add any value to the struggle? Will it add any value to the quest for the liberation of the Southern Cameroons? If the answer is no, then you have the responsibility to discipline yourself not to share it. You must not share it if it will not add any value to the cause for the liberation of the Southern Cameroons. Number 3, you have to delete all postings that have the potential of dividing or sowing seeds of conflict amongst those in the various fora. Any posting that has the potential of causing people to argue among themselves instead of focusing on the enemy, such postings must be deleted. All admins have the moral responsibility to manage the forums that they control and make sure that they eliminate any posting that causes Ambazonians to knock their heads together for no reason. You have the moral responsibility to do that. And number 4, if you must disagree, then do so constructively, basing your arguments on facts and facts only, not conspiracies, not name calling, not caricatures of others, not anything that will make the other person to feel humiliated or abused. Avoiding derogatory terms or language or appellations. Addressing each other by your name and by their name only. These are the things that we have to do. We have to learn to disagree constructively. Just because I disagree with you does not make you my enemy. Just because you disagree with me should not make me your enemy. This war is not between us. This war is with La Republique Cameroon. Let us refocus. When we engage in these tendencies, we are doing La Republique Cameroon's bidding. We are making their job easier. And they have exploited this to sow seeds of discord between us and cause stagnation and death, for Christ's sake. We have lost people, we have lost fighters on the ground because of this tendency. We have to address each other as comrades. Address comrades by their real names. Don't give them fake names. Don't give them acronyms, except they choose those acronyms themselves. Don't create caricatures for them. It serves the struggle no purpose. Avoid conspiracies and malice intended to destroy or damage someone else's character. There are many of us who engage in that. You simply make up stuff about somebody, things that have no bearing on truth. and simply make it up with the sole intention of destroying that person's character. It is wicked. It is unpatriotic when you engage in such behavior. And I'm urging you all to stop it. You are not doing it for Ambazonia, you're doing it for yourself. It is not serving Ambazonia any purpose. It is not. And I will say this, as the Bible says, you must do unto others as you have them do unto you. Speak to others as you like them to speak to you. If you don't like the language, if you are saying something to someone and you know you don't like the same language used against you, then you have the moral responsibility to self-censor yourself. To censor yourself not to use the same language. Don't do to someone things that you will not like for them to do to you. It is time for us to refocus, fellow Ambassadors. Let us clean our various fora of this hatred and vitriol and negativity and conspiracies that have derailed us from our main focus. Let's come back to the main reason why we are in this struggle, to make sure that we focus on La République du Cameroon. Whatever differences, if we disagree in strategy, we can talk about it amongst ourselves as brothers, making sure we are focusing on the enemy and the enemy only. You reserve your anger and fury for the enemy, not for your brother. Exercise self-control and discipline, and be more reflective of what you say and do. And when you feel that you are angry, take a moment before saying anything. Take a moment before doing something. Don't go out and say something when you are angry, because it will come out wrong. You will regret it later. When you are angry, take a moment, take a walk. Give it a day before reacting, because when you react in the moment of heat, it is much more likely that you get it wrong and you may regret it later. So, fellow Ambazonians, be a true patriot, be dedicated, be focused on the mission and the assignment that we have at hand. And that is that which gives us back Ambazonia. Nothing else matters. Be a patriot. Whatever you are doing should be for Ambazonia, not for yourself. Do it for your country, not for your own self-interest. That should be your guiding principle. If anything you are doing in this struggle is for yourself and not for this struggle, then you are in it for the wrong reasons. So, fellow Ambassadors, I hope you've listened to what I have to say here. I will give a moment to Officer Thomas and Dr. Ngwambe to make a comment or two about it, and then we will go to cover the great occasion that happened over the weekend. Officer Thomas, why don't you go first?
Yeah, but let me go back to what Dr. Ngwambe was saying before coming to this, because I am also guilty of that, though. Let me put it this way. Our family member is sick, very sick. Nobody is taking responsibility. By the moment I take responsibility to take that family member to a native doctor, for that is my own reach, Dr. Ngwambe comes in. I am a doctor. I'm taking our family member to the hospital. And that sick person is in the hospital. That is logical enough and understandably enough that something can happen. But if Dr. Ngwambe takes that family member to the hospital and he is receiving treatment there, you, another family member, comes in. That I am also a doctor, who I'm a rich man. This hospital is not good enough for our family member. I will take him to another hospital, and you are fighting with the Kungwame to take that person to another hospital, of which you know we bear a risk that on dragging that person forth and back, we might lose that person along the line. Why not bring that your expert doctors from another hospital to come and check him in that hospital where he's already lying, to see what, in collaboration with that hospital, he can do. You guys can do to treat that person. For it is accepted, I think, in the medical field, that another expert can come from another hospital to handle a situation in another hospital. It must not be where you want that person to be. What we want now at this present moment is how to cure that sick family member.
Naysayer, let me just add to your story. The worst case is that at the time that the person was sick, you were called in so that heads can reason on how to solve to treat that patient, but you refused to come. But once that patient had been taken now to a hospital, that is when you showed up. You refused to be part of the decision making as to what should be done with the patient. But once that patient was somewhere else, you want now to come and disrupt it. That is what is not acceptable. I just want to add to your story.
Thank you. In fact, we are wicked. Like I made in one of my audios, citing Fosso about 20 years ago, that he lied to Southern Cameroonians that he has sued the British government in British High Court. I went to him severally. Please, can you show me a hard copy of that suit so that I should contribute in supporting that action? And I will also go about raising funds to support that action of yours, Fosso. Then, Fosso was usurping the position of the chairman of the SCNC. He wasn't the chairman. But when he came up with that thing, I forget of Fosso is not the chairman. But is this story true? And if it is true, what can we do to make it work? Not to kill a good move taken by another Southern Cameroonian because you do not agree with him. What we are doing in this struggle are baby steps. Each baby step that is a positive one must be appreciated by all. But we have reached a point that whatever thing I do, which is good, because you do not like me as Sama Thomas, you do not want anything good to come from Sama Thomas. Can anything good come out of Jerusalem? And it was in that Jerusalem that the Son of God was born. And some people in that same Jerusalem rejected him. Let me warn all Southern Cameroonians who do not want to appreciate the fact that goodness can come through some people. The people you think goodness will never come through them. It's through them that goodness will come. When it comes, what will you make of it? Will you stand on your point that why is it through him? As it is through him, I will not go to Jerusalem. Ask yourself that question now. For the handwriting is very, very clear on the wall. Ask yourself, if it is Sama Thomas that is going to deliver that good, will you refuse that Sama Thomas has delivered the Southern Cameroons so you will not go down? Be ready never to enter the Southern Cameroons if you bear that type of attitude. Let me now go down to those questions you put out, which are very, very fundamental in our struggle today. You know, there are some people out there that I describe them as agents provocateurs. They do not see any goodness in what you do. Even if you say that thing which is good, which is in their favor, because they hate you as an individual, they will come up with a negative attitude. Can you imagine that in one group that all of us are there, there was somebody made a statement about me, a very derogatory statement about me. I didn't react to it. Somebody came from behind and reacted to it and was calling me out to come and react to that crap. When I just saw it, I said, wow. So these people, you have people who are there just to set confusion, to cause people fighting unnecessarily. Instead of him to rebuke that person who put up that thing, he was calling me out to come and respond to it. So how can you handle such situations?
How beneficial is that?
Like that's the question. How beneficial is that to you? If I respond to that person the way you want me to respond, how will it help you? How will it help the struggle as a whole?
Yes.
Is what is doing Southern Cameroonians. There is nothing you can say. There is nothing Samuel Thomas can say about Ayok Tabe, which will be good. No matter how good that thing I say about Ayok Tabe, people will always take it from a negative point of view and magnify it. I used to ask, does Ayok Tabe knows that the people who claim to be supporting him out here are the same people that are causing him enmity out here?
Yep.
And he has never been able to call these people to say, no, what you are doing on my name, I am not responsible for it. For you are causing enemies, and I've pointed this out to them severally, that you are causing enemies to Ayok Tabe for nothing. And the poor guy is there seated in prison, not knowing the type of destruction that you are doing out here on
that you have made a very good point there, Dr. Mwambe, because there are people out there who call the names of some of these leaders and they claim to be their most loyal supporters, but the things they are doing in the name of those people is causing those people more harm than good. I don't know if they realize it. They are causing, and the worst thing is that those people will sit in there, and there is even a fundraiser in support of those very people they consider to be their idols. And other people will put their names down and contribute money, but you will not see those people put their names there. Their names are not on that list. But they will be in there running their mouth the whole day, calling the name, oh, this person, that person. But when it comes time for you to step up and show that, yes, I'm really for this person, their names are not on the list. But because you want to be objective and say things that are true, they think that it is because you hate them. Just because you want to be objective. Just because I like you does not mean that I have to support everything you do. So I see Chairman Patrick is in. Chairman Patrick, I have come to the conclusion that there are some amongst us, some Ambazonians, who, if you were to package the freedom of Ambazonia, and you say, Dr. Gwambe, take this freedom of Ambazonia and give it to Paul over there. And that freedom is coming from Dr. Gwambe. You go to Paul, say, Paul, take this Ambazonian freedom. Paul said, no, Dr. Gwambe, as long as this freedom is coming from you, there's no way I'm going to take it. I cannot take it from you. I would rather be than take this freedom from you. I don't know. Am I exaggerating here? Because when you see the things that people do out here, when you see the things that people do, and you ask yourself, really, then why are we in this thing? You see this thing that you think is so positive, and the people are out there fighting to drag it down, give it other interpretations, and you're like, wow. So if I were carrying Ambassador's freedom, there are people who will see me and run away because it is me. They will not evaluate the package for what it is first. They evaluate by the carrier of that package. Isn't that self-destructive? Chairman Patrick, you just came in. Let me give you the pride of place to respond to it, to this question. Why is it? Why are we like this? We don't take the time to evaluate the quality of something. We simply look at the person carrying it out and we say, I don't like this mail carrier. I will not take this package. What is wrong with us? I don't know if you mean, but Chairman Party, I can't hear you. Not really. Go ahead. Let me see.
No.
I don't know why. Try, Chairman Patrick, log off and log back on. Let me give the pride of place to Dr. Gwambe. Why don't you take on this? It seems like if I give you the package, we carrying Bazina's freedom, some people will run away. Why is that, Dr. Gwambe?
Bro, look, I don't know me some people that are palava, but I don't get a new definition for them. now PhD people them, professional hater diploma guy them, or professional hater degree people them. That's all that is there. And unfortunately for them, maybe you did not know those professional haters. Maybe they don't know, but we're not trying to appeal to them. We're not trying to, at least I'm not. The IG is not appealing to you, right? We're not trying to convince you to see that what we are doing is what is going to take us to freedom, what is going to liberate us. No, the people who we are making sure we please them, the people who this IG is making sure we serve them, the people who this IG is making sure we liberate are the people of Ambazonia, because they deserve it and we deserve to be free. So anyone who was out there, they're hating on us, they're making up all kinds of lies about us, they're misrepresenting everything that they're doing. Nayasabio, if you get high blood, so they die because
yes, and if you look on Facebook, there's a certain name there that is coming up as being very guilty of that, and I cannot agree more. That is the name that the guy just seems so lost, and he feels that in order for Ambazonia to be free, he feels that Ambazonia's freedom should be put on hold until everyone from jail is released before we can advance. It's very sad.
That might, it's funny me, because for the forum where we did it, if we write some comment for they say, instead for when I for open that diplomatic office, when I for don't make sure say when I equip Boyden for ground. I look the thing, I love the guy because I ask myself, say, Fabiano Deco, just because feel waka and chop mango at the same time, no means say we for IG, we no feel waka and chop mango at the same time. Because we do all doors. We do all doors. Oh, look, this IG, the kind of money that this IG has spent supporting all the facets that are necessary for this liberation struggle to be successful. If there's anybody out there that's thinking that we're neglecting some other field, that is your business. You are allowed to allow your imagination to run wild if you want to.
Dr. Ngwambe,
you can do that. But the truth is, we are supporting everything.
Yes, not to stop you there, but this is a guy, right? He is saying that it is even an upgrade from what he said at the onset, that it was a scam. He said it was a scam. So now he's saying, okay, he has now recognized, after some major voices have come out to acknowledge it. He has now said, okay, we should have done this, but instead of that. But those are some of the people who are singing the names of some of our prisoners in jail. I don't want to be calling the names. But when a list is put up for contributions, you don't see his name on it. It is the same people he condemns that are against them who are contributing. But just because you are trying to be accurate and factual, they think that you are being against them. But you are just being pragmatic and saying what is true. The fact that you are saying what is true doesn't mean you hate them. And that is what he fails to understand.
At the end of the day, no, I'd already talk we know the try for convince that people, especially me. I don't get time for the try for convince that people. The people where we try for convince them. The people that we as the IG, we try for win for. Now the Ambazonian man, woman, and child. The rest of you out there who are even getting second and third PhD diplomas and degrees, na yasabi, chop for yasabi, we move forward. We are moving forward. You will come and enjoy Boya with us, and I will not have a problem with that at all. I have absolutely no. You come enjoy. As a matter of fact, we'll even chop for one ball Gary. I remember how we did for secondary school. No, some person did bend that.
You fight for the ball now.
Yes, we'll chop them together. We'll chop the Ambazonia Gary together. So keep hating, no problem. We're going.
The only thing is that we will try not to spend our time in that gutter. We will try to stay out of the gutter as much as we can. There may be times where we have to dive in there and keep someone in check, but we will try to stay out of it as much as possible and focus on what is important.
That's true. If a person where you think say they don't enter gutter, Dr. Ngwambe no go enter with them. Hey, I go enter with you when it be correct for me for enter with you. Especially when I get the facts then where I go shame you. So even though you no get the shame, that person no go get shame, no, because how we talk on people that they sell their shame by and how does that saying go? When you sell shame by disgrace, people that way they don't sell their shame go by disgrace. That's okay. I go enter with the gutter for you, but now with educational gutter where you go shame you, even though you don't get shame. So
Yeah,
don't
I don't know.
Don't mind them.
I don't know if Chairman Patrick is back now. Chairman Patrick, are you back? Let me see. Chairman Patrick. I don't know if he's locked out. Probably not. Summer Thomas, maybe you want to chime in on this. I just want to give Chairman Patrick the chance to say something on this before we go to the next topic. Summer Thomas, what do you have to say about the behavior of some of these our comrades? And what can we do about it? What can we do about it? Because it's really so energy draining and so discouraging. There are some people who have just decided to sit out there and not do anything in this struggle because of people like that. You come in and you want to say one thing, they come in, they don't address you by your real name, they give you another name, or they modify your name to suit them. For what reason are you doing that? Why are you doing all that? Why engage in such antics? So, Summer Thomas, your camera is I can't. We can't see your head. All right, that's better.
My webcam camera seems to have a problem, so I don't know if you get me.
No, I can hear you. I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. This young man called Fabiano Deco, I don't know what is wrong with him. He left prison with Patrick Ndango, and Patrick Ndango is still in that prison with all those that he was there with them at the bunker under La Republic's presidency. They are still in prison at Carnegie there. I believe if you go to Patrick Ndango, Fabiano Deco, who was together with them there, has never contributed or given them a dime since he left the United States. But all he does is to criticize our moves that we are taking, helping those in Carnegie. I don't know how many times I've sent money personally from my own pocket, not calling on the IG, to send to people in Carnegie.
Yep.
But I'm not insulting other Southern Cameroonians for not doing so. If Fabiano Deco has done so, fine and good. I appreciate him for that. But for telling us that we are doing our utmost best to see how things can work, that we've done this, we ought to have done, but that what has Fabiano Deco done since he left Carnegie, left ground zero to ground one, and is now in the United States? Which is that society? Let me even point Sarko's IG. Is he in Sarko's IG? Is Fabiano Deco with the ADF? Is Fabiano Deco with Sokadev? He is nowhere to be found, but he criticizes everything that any other person does. What is he doing?
He criticizes everybody except whatever is being led by this guy that was appointed by Sisiko. What's his name again? He is Yerima. You will not hear him say anything about him, despite the fact that he is the most unproductive person who calls himself a leader out here. So unproductive, but you will not hear Fabiano Deco say anything about him. That is his main mission. His main mission is he is to him as Uchiba Nelson has been to Sako. That is how it is. Yes, that is how it is.
That might the thing where I really want to get with some of our brother, the way they do the dragging down of other people. Then I say, I don't ever really see them promoting the activities of their own organization. Like if I, for
because
example,
there's nothing what is there to promote? How can you promote nothing?
With IG Care. If Fabiano is really with IG Care, why doesn't he promote some of the things that the IG Care people are doing? If IG Care is helping the refugees and all, let Fabiano come and show that stuff now. Let him come and put a contribution list for that. Why does he have to hate on why does he have to be a professional complainer about everybody else, but not a professional promoter of what his organization is doing? I don't get that. I don't get that. I don't see how it's helping.
But you have, Dr. Gwambe, you have to have something to promote. If you don't have what to promote, then what are you promoting? Nothing. You have to have something to promote in order to promote it. There is nothing there to promote. And that is why all he can do is tear down others, because he has nothing himself to put on the table. Let's check on Chairman Patrick again to see if he's in.
Mike,
Chairman
can you
Patrick?
hear me?
Okay,
Yes.
I can hear you now. Now, make your contribution.
Well, I think I'm going to go back to the point that you had asked earlier about what if you have the Amazonian um, liberation in your hand, there will be some Amazonians who will run away from you. One thing that Amazonians are supposed to learn is the fact that when we are in a revolution like we are today, you have to learn the history of revolutions. You have to look at what kind of political structures are you going to put in place? How are you going to be able to manage those who were against you or those who did not agree with your own point? I will take from example the United States of America. We watch and see how much the Republican and the Democratic Party they fight, they debate. But when it comes to the American way of life, they all come together and agree that this is what we're supposed to do as Americans. Look at what happened in Kenya a few years ago. Raila Odinga and Kenyatta, they fought really hard. People died because of their disagreement. But when the president called the opposition, they sat on the same table for breakfast and they apologized to each other and said, "We are here for the people of Kenya," and they moved forward. That is how we have to start looking at what Amazonians are fighting for. If Amazonians are not willing to understand that we are fighting for a country, not for individuals, we are fighting for a cause, not for not for some personal aggrandizement where people think if it's not this particular person, then everything should fall apart. Then we have not built a mind of revolutionaries because we are at the point where every single Amazonian should have that open mind and say, if this person is taking us to Amazonia, if he has the right formula to take us to Amazonia, let's work with him. Because when we get back to Amazonia, for us to avoid any infighting or for us to avoid that scenario where some people will be like, oh, I'm going to form another militia group because of this or that, we have to start accepting the idea that we want to go to Amazonia and we want to go there with every single Amazonian, no matter how we disagree today. So, what people are doing today is just showing the immaturity of some Amazonians. I have seen a lot of Amazonians who agree, who debate on TV. They don't even work on the same platform. But when they talk about collaboration, they are always on the table. They want to see that everybody is looking at each other and saying, how can we all work together? How can we move forward together without putting any personal gains or personal favor? So one thing that has really pushed this to this level is the fact that we have a team, a group of Amazonians that have decided that they were going to use this revolution to build a financial structure for themselves or some kind of a business for themselves. And that has made them so tied together that some people are not even willing. They know where there are areas that if we collaborate is going to move Amazonia forward. But because of their personal businesses that they have set themselves into, they don't even want to think that somebody else can take Amazonia forward. So at this particular point, we all have to look at history and see at how the other countries, how the other countries that have strong institutions, how are they able to operate without creating enmity, like long-lasting enmities? They agree on areas that support and build their country, but they will agree on areas that decide that bring down the reputation of the country.
Thank you, Chairman Patrick. To Dr. Ngwambe and Honorable Sama Thomas, who are frequent communicators in this struggle, as difficult as a task may be, as uphill as it may be for us to engage on this task, I will urge all of us to make an effort. We will relentlessly go out there and try to re-educate Ambazonians on what they should be focused on. We will, and I know that when we go out there and post those messages, as positive as the messages may be, those same people that we are talking about will try to attack them. But that will not discourage us. There are some people who will buy into those arguments. If we can convince 10, 15, 20 people to change their attitudes as compared to what we are doing now, it will have a multiplying effect when they start talking to other people. We have to do this with like the list I just read here today. We will expound on them. We will repeat it. We will bring in other material to support such arguments. But we need to refocus, to retune Ambazonians to where they ought to be, how they ought to be thinking, how they ought to be talking to each other. Because this tendency is so corrosive and its effects are so costly on our struggle that if you want to quantify it in terms of money, the amount is huge. If you want to quantify it in terms of the lives that have been lost because of this corrosive, because of this cancer that is in this struggle where we spend so much time tearing each other down for no reason. It is just so self-destructive. I see you fighting with your camera. I hope you got it right, Chairman Patrick. But let us go to something that happened over this weekend. Fellow Ambazonians, we now have a diplomatic mission in Washington, D.C. It is at 600 Massachusetts Avenue in Washington, D.C. The address is there. The address is there physically. You can visit it. Despite the fact that some were calling it a scheme or a Ponzi, someone called it a Ponzi scheme. And I advise him to go and refer to what the real meaning of a Ponzi scheme instead of using words out of context, because and then they went to a scam. I said, do you even know what a scam is? Because in order for something to be a scam or a Ponzi scheme, it must be something that is for profit, right? You have to be doing it so that you can benefit from it financially or otherwise. But this is not the case. This is something that is going to cost us to have. It is not something that is putting money in anybody's pocket. There was no, we didn't go out there to fundraise. It was not a fundraising event. So, having said that, fellow Ambazonians, we have a diplomatic mission in Washington, D.C., and that is the address right there on your screen. We are not hiding it. In the days ahead, you will be given the phone number and the email address where you can send your messages. You can call and ask questions and get your concerns addressed. And during the course of this this show today, we are going to look at some of the advantages for the establishment of this diplomatic mission. I think, and again, we will also look at a tweet that was sent out by Ambassador Tibo Nash, and that really helped to quell some of the negative messaging that was being sent out there about this initiative. And his tweet just dealt a blow to some of those who were sending out those the negative commentary about this initiative, just because it did not come from somebody they like. Just because it did not come from somebody they like. So they had to send out misinformation to confuse our people into believing in something that wasn't the case. So I want to give each of you a chance to talk about what you saw, how you feel about it. Chairman Patrick, I would like to start with you again, since you came in rather late. Why don't you tell us how you feel about it. Yeah, you go ahead, please. Tell us how you feel about this initiative.
Before you
Thank you
today,
so much. Thank you
Go
so
ahead.
much, Chairman Mike. I want to give Ambazonians the opportunity to understand that when we are in a revolution, when we are fighting a revolution, we should start thinking strategically. What do you do? Sometimes we've talked about fighting with the military on the ground, or going after this, going after that. But there are certain things that when we do, they put a mark on the revolution. And the only regret that I have right now is the fact that we did not do this. The people that were running the revolution did not do this 4, 5, 6 years ago, because this would have taken us to a different level. But I'm happy that we've finally done it. And this is a mark. When the government of La Republique went around and said, even people call it Atanganjo, whatever they call them, kept saying, oh, terrorists, these people are doing this, these people are doing that. They now understand that a country like the United States that have laws will not tolerate terrorists to operate freely in their country, to have an office. So if you want to pick up the terrorist, you just go to the office. But since they now understand that we have been given that chance, we have taken that step, this should be a message to every Ambazonian that had any iota of doubt that this revolution was not being thought out strategically. The team that came out with this idea to work with the lobbyists and others, advisors, to come up with this idea have done one of the things that could have taken the Amazonians revolution to a different level. And just to support what you said about the tweet, we Ambazonians will fight ourselves more than we even fight the enemy. When I'm talking right here, some Ambazonians will sit there and only wait to see what I'm going to say that is wrong, or what I'm going to say that is not what they are thinking, so that they can poke holes into it. But people now just put it out there. There are millions of Ambazonians, thousands, that came out and said, oh, where have you presented your credentials to call it a diplomatic mission? Where have you, who is recognizing your accreditation to call it an embassy? But when I say people should read history, the people of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, the people of Somaliland, they have these offices. Every fighting force, every liberation movement, they have offices in the United States, because that is where they have to set up their plan to meet the people that can make a difference in this revolution. If you look at it, when we study geography, they always talked about nearness to the raw materials. That was one of the factors that everybody would consider before they locate their businesses, because they need to know how to transport the goods from where they are to the market, or get the raw materials from the farm. You don't just go locate a business somewhere where you take 5 years to even get material to the location. Washington, D.C. is the capital of the world. If anybody want to argue that, they can go and research it. When Americans speak, the world is going to listen. And what we've done is to get really close to the source of power. And to some people who did not even know, this address that was given out is less than maybe 2 miles. I'm even talking 2 miles from the White House, the presidency of America. That is where it is. They would not. They have secret service in every corner of Washington D.C., and you cannot put anything anywhere that is going to be in any danger to the American society, and they will not take it down within seconds. So we've done what most people did not see it coming. And I've seen even some of our naysayers who were rejecting what strategies and vision that the Comrade Chris had for the Amazonian people. They were rejecting it. They were talking about it, but they are just now following like sheep. They are not even thinking. They are trying to do the same thing, but just because they don't even know what to do, they just keep doing what they want to do and criticize. One of my friend called me from Japan yesterday. I was talking, and he said the only reason these people talk about what Comrade Chris is doing is the fact that it just takes an example. He took an example to when we were growing up, we saw mango trees and pear trees. A mango tree that doesn't have any fruit on top of it, you'll never see kids running under or throwing stones towards that tree. But the moment you see
that
that,
is very true. That is very true.
the moment you are doing something right, that is where you're going to have that many people coming after you because they know there is something out there. They are always going to destroy it, or they are going to try to follow it indirectly by saying negative things towards that. But this office is for the Amazonian people, and everybody's welcome. We are not going to say it's for this group or for that group. It's for the Amazonian people, and it's a symbol to show that La Republic will never say a word about that we do not know who to talk to. They have an office. They can send the ambassador to visit that office, and they will talk to people in there. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, there, Chairman Patrick. You couldn't have said it better with that parable there. That a tree that bears no fruit will attract even no birds, no squirrels will go on the tree because what is there to harvest? It will just stand there. But when you see that happen, but the tragic thing again, Chairman Patrick, is why we should even be. I think there is something on the screen. Unfortunately, I cannot read the beginning because my screen is blocking it a little bit. But there is something on the screen here from Comrade Bo Herbert. I think it's another tweet. But I think he's saying that he disagrees with Comrade Chris on several issues, but he speaks for all true Ambazonian rights. We all know explanations to detractors and saboteurs who wish for our failure. You, our fellow Ambazonians, have a simple choice to believe in our mission to restore the independence of the Southern Cameroons or to dismiss it. We urge you to choose wisely. The wise choice, as Comrade Chris Ano asks, is for all of us to remain steadfast in our commitment to securing the future of Ambazonia. Comrade Bo Herbert. Thank you there, Comrade Bo Herbert. That is wisdom. That is what a responsible leader ought to do. And I would like to see other leaders of this movement coming forth to express themselves on this matter. This is when your opinion counts. Like Comrade Bo Herbert has said, like Thibault Nash has mentioned, let us see others come forth and say, despite the fact that I disagree with this person on other issues, but on this particular matter, or the establishment of a diplomatic mission, I stand with him. I stand with him, and that it is the right thing to do. Because even many of those who are spreading falsehoods about this thing, they know that it is the right thing. But their only regret is that it's not coming from them. That is the only thing, and it is a tragedy that we have allowed ourselves to go down this road. As Ambassador Thibault Nash has said here, congrats to members of the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia community for inaugurating a Washington, D.C. embassy. We are calling it a mission, but Ambassador Thibault Nash has decided to call it an embassy. That is not from us. While aspirational, it may become de facto once there is an on-the-ground referendum on what the people want. Meanwhile, the unjustified suffering goes on. There are two things that Ambassador Thibault Nash is saying there. There are two messages. While congratulating the interim government for leading this initiative for all of Ambazonia, he is also, with this same message, telling us to embrace the option of a referendum. That will give our people the choice to make that decision. Because when the people make that choice, the world will listen.
Yep.
That is the language of a diplomat. He knows how the system works, and he is trying to guide us towards the gate to victory. It is up to us to choose to listen or to choose to be stubborn and remain spinning mud on the same spot. This man has given us a lot of advice, both behind the scenes and right out here in the open. And we ought to appreciate him. And when I see people out there talking about him disparagingly, I feel so sad. I feel so sad. Dr. Mwambe, go ahead.
So this is what I was going to say. I'm going to say, not all Ambazonians, because I hate this thing when we generalize and make it seem like it's all Amba. There's a certain segment of Ambazonians, the professional hater diploma, professional hater degree Ambazonians out there, who they don't have anything good to say. Ambazonians have said no one went to school to learn about liberation or revolution. A gentleman, an honorable gentleman at that, like the former Undersecretary for African Affairs, Ambassador Thibaut Naj, you see the kind of positive things he has been saying. You see the kind of feelings that he has for people who are striving for self-determination, people who are striving for independence. And those Ambazonians who are always fond of saying that no one went to school to go learn about liberation struggle, they are disparaging a consummate professional like this, our brother, Ambassador Thibaut Naj. It funny me. It funny me. Maybe the people, the way they talk that, they talk, maybe they don't serve some ambassadorship for some side where we don't know. So now why did they talk that? Maybe they don't serve for some official capacity for a government, a functional government in this world that we don't know. And they're sitting in our midst and they're trying to tell us this thing and we're not listening to them. Maybe, I don't know, Mio. But it's really sad. It's really sad.
Yeah.
But hey, when this,
Dr. Mwambe, let me give you something to expound on. There is this idea, because there are some people who have this false notion that we just sat somewhere and decided to go out and do this. Can you lay the foundation of where this idea came from? That it is from consultations with other countries that have been through the same struggle like our own, where we reached out to them and asked them, how did you do it? How did you get your own independence? How did you manage it? And they started telling us that, look, if you want the world to hear you, you have to go out there and establish a place where diplomats will be able to approach you. Because you don't expect a diplomat to come and meet your leader in his house. It does not work that way. It doesn't work that way. You don't expect a leader to come to your house to meet you. You have to have a space where these people can come to you and sit there in confidence and talk to you about your struggle. And that is how we got to here. And together with other international partners, like Ambassador Thibaut Naj, they gave us the idea to go ahead and establish this diplomatic mission. And that is where the idea was born. It was not done to project the interim government. It was not done to project Chris Anu. It was done for all Ambazonians. I just wanted to get to you to establish that, Dr. Mwambe, and to explain that we are not the only ones to do this. There are others out there who have, with situations similar to ours, who have established the same structures. Not because they are sovereign nations, they are not yet sovereign nations, but they have diplomatic missions. Dr. Mwambe?
So Mike, first of all, you have already done an excellent job of even explaining about what the genesis of this whole diplomatic mission came about, without naming any of the countries that we've spoken to or anything like that. But my fellow Ambazonians, people were even upset with us for using the term diplomatic mission. The term diplomatic mission it covers the words embassy, it covers the word consulate, and it even covers the word representative office. If we look at a country like Taiwan as a perfect example, right? Because of the one China policy that the big China has, countries out there have to make a choice that, hey, if you want to have a relationship with big China, which I believe they call themselves the People's Republic of China, if I'm not remembering PRC.
That's it.
If you want to, but for simple understanding, I'm just going to call them big China. If you want to have a relationship with big China, you cannot have a relationship with small China, which is Taiwan, right? And as a result, when you choose that have a relationship with big China now, you have to, downgrade. Let me say that kind of diplomatic relation you have with the diplomatic mission that the Taiwanese have inside their place. As a matter of fact, Taiwan has about, from what I was researching, they have about 100, maybe 110 diplomatic missions around the world. Only like 4 of them are really recognized and have exchanged those full diplomatic papers that allow you that particular office to function as a fully recognized embassy. But in the other countries where they are not recognized as an independent sovereign state, they have representative offices, which is also a diplomatic mission. There's nothing complicated about this thing. And I don't even know why I'm even explaining this thing to people, because at the end of the day, focusing on the name as opposed to focusing on what we as Ambazonians can do together to take advantage of this thing that has been set up for all Ambazonians to use to help push our struggle forward so we can get continue to receive the diplomatic coverage that we need, to get the diplomatic support that we're going to need, that's going to ensure that La République du Cameroon remains on the negotiation table. Because mind you, with all this stuff that we've been doing, whether it's the Swiss process or whether it's the Canada pre-talks or Canada, whatever it was, if La République cannot be compelled to remain on the negotiation table because of our firepower in particular, but because the international community has not rallied around to see that all this killing and maiming of Ambazonian people must stop, we're not going to go anywhere. And that's why we need this diplomatic office. My fellow Ambazonians, you have seen French Cameroonese. The French Cameroonese are not holding their government accountable. The French Cameroonese, they don't care about peace. They're giving lip service about peace. They know that La République du Cameroon the government of La République du Cameroon are the people who don't want peace because they've been running away from the negotiation table. But guess what? La République du Cameroonese are not protesting to hold their government to stick to the negotiation table so that peace can be had between their so-called brothers who are Ambazonians. They're not doing it. So what is it that is there? It is left up to us as Ambazonians to, instead of arguing about what we're calling this office, as you see, Ambassador Sibana has called it an embassy, whatever it's being called, let us take advantage of what this diplomatic mission, what this embassy, this consulate, this representative office, whatever you want to call it, what it's going to do for us. Stop arguing on semantics. It's a huge waste of time and your energy. I mean, personally, you're not frustrating me, you're frustrating yourself, because as the Francophones say, or as the French say, or as Petit Pays say, les gens n'aiment pas les gens, mais nous on avance. You all are there hating on us, but we're moving Ambazonia forward. And then, so it doesn't mean anything. You can talk blue in the face. You can speak to those who are fellow PhD holders like you, all you player haters and all that kind of professional haters. You can be, speaking to each other and hyping each other up. That's good. But we are going to continue to advance. And when Ambazonia is free, you are going to have that choice of to go and live with La République du Cameroon or come and enjoy Ambazonian Achu with us, Ambazonian Ekwang with us, Ambazonian Dole with us, and Bobo Chobi, everything that is Ambazonian. You will have that choice to come and choose to enjoy with us or to be with in French Cameroon. That is your choice. But we're going to keep moving forward because we believe in our country and we love our country. Whether you hate us because of what we're doing to free our country, it doesn't matter. We're going to still win, and we're still going to liberate Amazonia.
We'll stay focused. We will stay focused. Dr. Ngabe, I see some of our viewers so itchy, and they want us to give them a chance to call in before the end of the show. We'll see if we can do that. But before we do that, let me just go through some of the advantages of this, the establishment of this diplomatic mission, so that it is clear to all of us. The first thing, fellow Ambazonians, is this: La République has called us terrorists. They have called us terrorists severally. But the establishment of this diplomatic mission completely takes that away from La République du Cameroon. Because when you look at that building and the Ambazonian flag flying on top of that building, fellow Ambazonians, look at that flag on top of that building. Tell me if there is any other building in Washington, D.C., where you see the flag of ISIS, where you see the flag of Boko Haram, where you see the flag of the Taliban or whatever. Have you seen any flag of any terrorist organization flying on any building in Washington, D.C.? Fellow Ambassadors, tell me, is there any flag of a terrorist organization flying in Washington, D.C. anywhere? There is none. But the flag of Ambazonia is flying high, and nobody has complained about it. What does that say to you? That says La Republic cannot call us terrorists anymore. No more. We have taken and by the way, our flag is right there alongside the flag of the United States of America. Go figure. So that is one of the benefits right there. We have destroyed that nonsense that La Republic likes to call us terrorists. We are not terrorists. How can we be a terrorist and then we're a terrorist organization and we have a diplomatic mission right here in Washington, the capital of the world, as Dr. Ngwambe said, the capital of the world. Now, a second reason, it now becomes the main contact point for any diplomat who wants to talk with Ambazonia. They cannot say we don't know how to meet them anymore. We have a physical address. We will soon send out a phone number, a website, and an email address. And any diplomat in the world can contact us and we can do business that way. That is, we are establishing our roots, fellow Ambazonians. We are establishing our roots and we are taking this thing to a different level. Thirdly, this will give us the means to assist our citizens with asylum issues. It will give us a means to assist our citizens who are being persecuted out here in the diaspora for whatever reason. Maybe rental discrimination, maybe those who have just arrived in USA and don't know where else to go, they don't know anybody. They can call this diplomatic mission and they will be linked with the various social services or immigration services that can help them in their situations. Fellow Ambassadors, isn't that a good thing? Isn't that a good thing? They help persecuted Ambazonians. It will also help to sensitize the world, the rest of the world, and the diplomatic community about what is happening to our people on ground zero. It will help to sensitize the world about what is, because we have heard severally that our conflict, the persecution of the people of the Southern Cameroon is one of the most neglected conflicts in the world. This diplomatic mission will help us to inform the diplomatic community about what is happening to our people on the ground. It will educate them, give them a clear picture of what our people are going through. The genocide, the massacres, the torture, the humiliation that we have faced for years. The world does not know it in detail, and it is our job to make sure we paint a clear picture of what La Republic is doing to us. That is what this diplomatic mission will do. That is what this diplomatic mission will do, fellow ambassadors. It will intervene on behalf of our refugees in foreign lands. When they reach out to us and say, we are being persecuted here, we will be able to pick up the phone from the diplomatic mission and call and say, this is the diplomatic mission of the Ambazonian people. We are calling to find out what is going on with our people. We have had complaints that our people are being treated in those refugee camps. What is going on? Those people will be compelled to sit up. They will be compelled to sit up and say, whoa, these people have people talking on their behalf. We better be careful. Our people will be protected because of this office. Fellow ambassadors, this is very important. Listen to me. Those who are in refugee camps, when you have your problems there, you can, when the phone number of this diplomatic mission is reviewed, you can now call there and explain what exactly is happening to you. If you are being maltreated, you call and explain your situation. And this diplomatic mission will call and find out what exactly is going on. I just wanted to highlight some of these benefits, which are not exhaustive. This list is not exhaustive, but it is very important for us to know this. Honorable Senator Thomas, I don't know if you want to come in here. You have heard this list. Maybe you say a few things, and we will see if we can take a few phone calls before the end of the show. But we need to educate our people about the benefits of what we have done here. Honorable Senator Thomas.
Well, to the professional haters department, like Dr. Ngwambe has said, there is no point hating us for having opened a diplomatic mission for the people of Southern Cameroons in Washington, D.C. All that is left for us to do is to join hands for us to see that that embassy works for it is for the benefit of all Southern Cameroonians. And for those who have seen what we've done, and they are there thinking that they are going to open another embassy in Washington, like they've going to register their full-fledged government in America. Please, if we are really out for independence of the Southern Cameroons, that is going to be a monumental error if that error is made. People should think twice what their actions are going to be so far as this struggle is concerned. If you make that error because you've seen that we've opened a diplomatic mission and you want to go and open another diplomatic mission, those who are a full-fledged government, that is a monumental error that Southern Cameroons will live to regret it for the next 100 years. They will never come out of the mess. Of course, think twice before you act, and if you want to act wisely. And I believe for the professional haters department, the very first thing that one called me or wrote to me was only 11 people were in the inauguration of the diplomatic mission in Washington, D.C. I hope he's watching me, for I've sent this thing to him for this program. Let him look at those images there and see there are only 11 people that he was claiming. Because I watched what when they were signing the full-fledged government of Southern Cameroons after 71 years, 5 people were standing beside Sako, while Fru Johnson was standing there as a houseboy in front of Sako. This here is not that situation of signing a full-fledged government. Look at the crowd that is standing here.
I hope they can see the population there. Let me look at the population there.
Shut up your mouth of that. You are 11 people. Professional haters department hate me as a person, but do not hate my deeds if they are those that can help.
I think those faces are very distinguishable. Those faces are very distinguishable. They are not they are not computer generated. Each of those faces there has a name and an address and a unique identity that can be verified. And I challenge them to go ahead and do their homework, because the population is real. That facility is real. What the images you saw there are real, both on the inside and the outside. I was there myself, as you can see. I was there. I did a tour of the premises on camera, and I'm sure ambassadors saw it. So there's nothing to hide here. Yes.
Comrade Mike, can I just chip in something here? Those who are even talking about numbers, let's think about the impact of the action that has been taken to create or to establish this institution. Is more important than the number of people that were there.
Yeah.
If you go to the Amazonian forums, we have some forum with 300 people. We have some forums with 50 people. We have forums with 400-500 people. But when they say they want to contribute money, maybe 15 or 10 people contribute. It's not numbers that we are not here to compete. That is why we are working strategically. We are working with a vision for Ambazonia. We are not working to say we want every Ambazonia. At the end of the day, Dr. Tenjo have said this so many times on this show, that the number of people that are going to liberate Ambazonia is less than maybe 2% of those who are supposed to be working towards this liberation movement. So let's not even, those people who are putting numbers, it's just like a little child when there's somebody come out and say, oh, my papa get 3 farm. The one will come out and say, oh, my papa get a 4 farm with 20 planty. Does it make any difference? What we harvest from that farm is what makes it different.
There is a short video of, before we close, I would like for that video to be shown of animals collaborating. Before we take the phone calls, there's a video of animals collaborating, because if we were behaving in this struggle like those animals or insects, where they band together to resist predators, but by coming together, they were able to together resist the predators. That means we are supposed to complement each other. That if I'm standing on the ground, you stand on my shoulders, and the next person stand on that person's shoulder, before you know it, we reach higher heights and we can harvest fruit and share amongst ourselves. That is how it's supposed to be. It is not supposed to be something that we are tearing each other down because you want to be the only person standing. That is so, it is so stupid. And if the studio has that video of animals working together to achieve results for their own collective good, and then we can take the phone calls after that. I don't know if the studio has that video, because maybe if we cannot do it ourselves, maybe we need to learn from animals that are supposed to be below human beings. While the studio is searching for that video, if those who wanted to call, because that's the phone number on the screen. If you want to call, we will give you a chance to express yourself. But please just be polite, and we will be able to respond to you. So if you want to call, please go ahead and do so now. While we can continue talking while waiting for the phone calls of those who were eager to call to come in.
Comrade Mike, let me just chip in something here. One thing that we are supposed to learn as Ambazonians going forward, yes, it's okay to criticize and to bash any idea that anybody is bringing. Don't bash the ideas without bringing up something that is going to move Ambazonia forward.
Of course.
Let's sit back and say, okay, if I want to criticize somebody's idea or somebody's move that is trying to help the Ambazonia revolution, I'm going to come up with this idea, and this is what I'm going to put down that is going to help us move forward. Don't just tear it down and don't have anything to offer. If those who are talking against this embassy, they should come up. To just make things really easy, there is one guy in this Ambazonia revolution, I don't want to call his name, that has embezzled the Ambazonia money, refused to go to elections, and he will not use a dime of the Ambazonia money or the money that people are contributing to even pay for a lobbyist, because he knows if they use that money to pay for a lobbyist, he might not have food to eat in his house. So let's start looking at the positive that is coming from anybody's idea instead of trying to tear down the ideas without having an alternative.
Of course, like we've said, if these people could just spend a little bit of the time that is spent on tearing other people down and use that energy, for example, let's say, for example, the establishment of this diplomatic mission. Let's say maybe the way we are going about it may not be the best. And some other person will come in and say, okay, now you have this physical space. I have ideas on how we can better use this space. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? Why don't we do this? Isn't that a good thing? We bring all of our ideas together and make sure they work best for Ambazonia. Instead of just coming out and denouncing it and saying, oh, and the funny thing is that sometimes they denounce these things and then they go right back and they try to do the same thing. Even as they may not even do it that well. We saw how while we were struggling to establish this diplomatic mission, some people went out and said they were registering their own Ambazonia, whether a full-fledged government or what. And then they went out and said, oh, we are unveiling an emblem. And that was supposed to be an occasion to be celebrated. Oh, Lord. They went out and said they were unveiling an emblem. And you saw grown men, adults, tripping over each other, saying that they were unveiling an emblem. I mean, how important is that? What emblem, first of all? We have our emblem. Why do we need to change
That is
it?
why people. That is why people have to do SWOT analysis for every action that they are taking. Because if you are unveiling an emblem, whatever action you are taking, you should be asking yourself, what impact is that going to have on the Ambazonian revolution? What good is that to the Ambazonian
Of what benefit
revolution?
was
What
that?
benefit is that to the Ambazonian revolution?
We have enumerated the benefits of this diplomatic mission, which are tangible, measurable, and the effects will be seen in the days ahead. What is the unveiling of an emblem? What will that do to the freedom of Ambazonia? What is that going to give us?
Governor Mike, I would say those who went for the unveiling of that emblem, I give them kudos for taking that action. For a warning was passed out that our emblem must not be usurped by people who are not with. For we have only one IG, and if you are not of this IG, you're not supposed to use the emblems or anything that belongs to this IG. I think that call was heeded by those guys, and they rush ahead to change their emblem to become something else. Now, the next question that goes is to those Southern Cameroonians who are supporting this funny guy and talking about the defending of a flag. Because they are the sing songers of they are defending the flag. If you give a country to a dictator who has chosen to change the emblems of the nation by dictatorship, he will also choose to change the flag of the nation, maybe put his effigy there. What are you going to do? So the people of that emblem should be very, very careful, and Southern Cameroon should take note of that act by that fellow. For he said, and I quote, if it is a revolution and it's not a dictator, then it is a revolution. And it is
first of all, Officer Thomas, let me say this. And I'd like Dr. Gwambe to take on this. This is someone who has been saying that he is the president of the interim government for the past 5 years, right? He said he was the president of the interim government for the past 5 years. And now he says, oh, by the way, the name interim government was the wrong one. So now it should have been the full government. So he must first of all admit that whatever he had been for the first 5 years was a fraud and null and void. That means he must first of all admit that whatever he thought he was for the past 5 years was null and void, and therefore it is only now that he is trying to be the leader of the so-called established full government. Then the question will be, since the path, the road that was supposed to lead you to this point that you are was not right, what then gives you the right to be where you are, right? Because if you're saying that the interim government was not the real structure, then how have you gotten to this point now where you are saying you want to establish a full Ambazonian government. So whatever they are doing there, it is serving them so negatively. I don't know if they are aware of what they are doing. It completely nullifies their very existence. That's what I'm trying to say here. It nullifies their very existence. The act which Sako and his surrogates took a few days ago or weeks ago has completely nullified any reason for them to exist. Dr. Ngwambe, am I wrong?
It is not only that, right? I mean, and I know, like, and I want to kind of tie these two things together, because I know our liberation forces, there's certain segments of our liberation forces who have, you know, they're trying to encourage unity and collaboration, all these things like that. And there are people out there who are saying, fight for the flag, fight for the flag, fight for the flag, right? And I get that concept, but they are mixing two things. And this is what I want to use to help guide them who are saying fight for the flag, fight for the flag. You know, the U.S. Army, right, has an oath of enlistment. And in that oath of enlistment, it starts something like this. And I'm going to put my name there. I, Dr. Ngwambe, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies. That's the first part of it.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking about defending the Constitution. Yes, all those emblems and symbols, the flag that we all hold dear, are all there. But they're talking about, when you're enlisting to be a part of the U.S. Army, you are speaking of fighting to defend the Constitution. Part of what you're fighting to defend and you pledge to defend is that Constitution. Mm-hmm. And what is that Constitution all about? It enshrines all the democratic principles, free speech, change of power, elections, the decentralized government, avoiding cronyism, because I was listening to my brother Patrick talking about how certain people who are with Dr. Sako, they're so tied to him because they've entered into business relationships with him. So now that when it comes time to make judgment calls, it's their business, that the relationship that is trumping their love of country. And that's why you don't want cronyism. That's why you don't want these types of things, these conflicts of interest to be there when you have leadership and all that type of stuff like that. So we are all fighting to defend this ideal of our country, right? We're all fighting for our country to be a democratically principled country. So when you see some of these things that are going on like this, you see people who are playing all these funny games that they're playing, they're presenting themselves to be the full government of Ambazonia. You know what? That's okay. If that's the way you all see yourself, that's okay. But guess what? Ambazonia is going to have a referendum. And before we get to that referendum, there are going to be things that are going to be put in place that are going to allow our people to be able to select the leadership that they want. And because we of this IG recognize that, that's why we call ourselves the interim government. Interim, meaning we are just a placeholder to help our country to become free, to help guide our people to become a sovereign, independent nation. And once we have done that, we are going to be part of that team of Ambazonians from all over the world, you know, the diaspora, and even with our very competent and well politically educated brothers in Ground Zero who are going to form a democratically principled constitution that will elect the true leadership of our country. So for those of you who are doing well and want to do,
it's good that you mentioned that. It's good that you mentioned that, Dr. Ngwambe, and I want Ambazonians to hear this again. Why we call this interim government is because it is temporal. Yep. It is temporal in nature. And when Ambazonia is free, the Ambazonian people, through free and fair elections, will choose the government that will lead them. There is no government in the diaspora that will come and lead you. We are telling you this, so you hear it from us. Nobody here will come and be your president in Ground Zero. You will choose your own president. Whether you're a president or the prime minister, whatever form of government, you will decide. And you will choose that leader yourselves. All Ambazonians will come together to choose that leader. It is nobody who has been pre-selected who will come and lead you. Nowhere, no how. And I think it's Dora who just said here that what the other people are doing and and saying they are changing names, they are doing exactly what La Republique does. Isn't that what Pobia did? Just sit there at his table and decide to change from United Republic to La Republique to Cameroon. How different is it from what Sako is doing?
From provinces to regions.
From provinces to regions. They just change things. They don't follow any procedure. That is the same thing that Sako is doing. They will just sit in a Zoom meeting, not even a physical meeting, and conduct a so-called decision. I heard, Ate Eric was reading that thing and say, oh, some people will be sent to a break room and they will go there and spend 10 minutes and vote on the decision and come here and we're going to adopt it. And that is exactly what they did. Within one Zoom meeting, all those decisions were taken and voted, adopted, and they rushed out there and they were acting like a confused bunch of people tripping over each other that they were unveiling an emblem or whatever it is. I mean, people can reduce themselves to just, I don't like giving names, but it was just a clown show. It was a clown show, nothing short of it. And ambassadors can see, the ambassador can see clearly through it. Who is talking about it? Have you seen anybody, have you heard anybody talk about that thing out there? Who is talking about it? Nobody.
The sad thing about the whole situation is that you see that Dr. Sako is essentially continuing following the playbook of Dictator Ahidjo and Dictator Paul Biya. He's continuing to follow that playbook. They're trying to force themselves on the Ambazonian people and behaving as if the Ambazonian people selected them to rule Ambazonia or whatever imagination that they have in their mind. But ultimately, what is there? Ambazonians, when we have our country, when we officially secure our country, Ambazonians are going to choose who they want for their leadership. That's why we refer to ourselves as the interim government.
That's it.
Plain and simple. No one is going to impose an English dictatorship on you, my fellow Ambazonians. And some of us will even join the fight against anyone. I mean, we've already done it now. But if anyone who is trying to implement transition from a French-speaking dictatorship to an English-speaking dictatorship, that is dead on arrival. And some of us will even pick up arms to fight against that if anyone wants to play that game with the people of Ambazonia.
Thank you. I think those who were calling for the cause may have gone away. So we are going to leave it at that. I think the show is pretty much ended, but I'll give each of you 30 seconds, just 30 seconds, please, to say a thing about anything we have talked about, and we'll call it a day. I think we have put out a lot of information out there for Ambazonians to assimilate and make use of, and I'm sure they will appreciate it. Before I even do that, I want to thank all of you this summer, Dr. Gwambe, Chairman Patrick, for rushing out of work and trying to make it here. Dr. Gwambe actually did it from his car because he could not drive home before joining us. I want to appreciate all the sacrifices we are making for our homeland. It is our nest. Like every insect, when you go and you suck on all the sap from all the flowers, you have to come back home. And we are getting ready to go home. And we must make sure that the place is conducive for us to get there, especially for our people on the ground. They cannot continue to live under the torture, the domination, the humiliation that they have been subjected to for the past 60-something years. It is time to give our people a taste of what true freedom is, and we are determined to accomplish just that. So, Naysayer, why don't you make your closing statements, please? 30 seconds.
Let me go by this. Chairman Patrick reminds me of something. First of all, Chairman Patrick, after this, make sure you call me. Factors that determines the localization of an industry: nearness to raw material, and you block immigration. You block migration and attract immigration into that area. So, to my fellow Southern Cameroonians, there is no point going about in the United States that you want to get a building to open a mission there. That's a waste of time. There is already a mission in Washington, D.C., which is for all Southern Cameroonians, no matter where you find yourself. Let us make good use of that mission, of that office, or mission, for it is for all of us, than to go and cause a confusion that the world will turn and look at us and laugh at us. That's a monumental error, which I think no rightful thinking Southern Cameroonian will endeavor to commit. It's treasonable. It's treasonable. I hear.
Thank you, Osama Thomas. Thank you for being here again, and thank you for always respecting the call to come on. John Patrick.
All right. Thank you so much, Comrade Mike. Thank you to everybody on this show today. And I just want to say to fellow Amazonians, we are fighting a just fight. And just to echo a few things out there, we have somebody that has advised us. Thibault Nash has done so much with the Amazonian people. He has given us some clues. He is a seasoned diplomat. His advice should be taken seriously. On several occasions, he's been to every Amazonian faction, talking to them, trying to bring us together. And there's a message that he has echoed in every one of his shows. He always said, I am a messenger. I am just a messenger. That should give us a message that this guy is not just coming out there because he doesn't have things to do. He is being used because they know he has been an ambassador in Africa. He has been a diplomat in West Africa in so many different countries. The American government, the power that be, even the United Nations, they are using him to go around and see what can we do for these people? How can you advise us? That is why he's coming out there, not giving us direct information, but he's telling us to think that he's a messenger, but he just wants you guys to come together and fight because we all have a just fight. The last thing that I will say is we have been in so many diplomatic meetings and other top meetings, and one thing that resonated was the fact that some countries today that have been liberated for years, they've had their independence, they've had elections, but they have not been recognized by the international community. And the only regret they have is the fact that they did not go through a referendum. Because when you get a referendum, all the diplomatic missions will come in, every country will establish an embassy. But if you go through a back road and get your independence, you're going to now start another fight to fight with other international organizations to establish business with you. Thank you.
Thank you again, John Patrick, for making the time to join us. I very much appreciate it. And Dr. Ngwambe?
So, my fellow Amazonians, I really want to say that I am proud of you. I'm very proud of the accomplishments that we have been making thus far. This Amazonian Diplomatic Office, it is for all of us. Let us figure out how we can use it for the benefit of our liberation struggle, for the benefit of our nation, and for the benefit of our people. In addition to being proud of all of you, I also want to say that I'm proud of Comrade President Chris Anu. I'm very proud of him. I'm proud of my brother Candida, my Franca, my Nembi, Chairman Jackson, my brother here, Tom Mike. Very proud of you. I'm very proud of all of those who were present at the diplomatic mission opening. Honorable Chris Adjoa, I saw you there. Our brothers from the SCNC, and our brothers from Scapo. I think that was Pa Sheriff. I'm proud of all
Scapo.
For
Comrade Sheriff, Senior Comrade Sheriff was there.
Yes, Senior Comrade Sheriff, I'm proud of all of you because you all made Ambazonia to be beaming with pride on that day. This is the first step that we're taking, and we're going to make it. I also want to make sure I thank our brother. This is none other than the great Ambassador Thibault Nash. I want to thank him for being a lover of freedom and for being a lover of those who want to, find a way to have their self-determination. I pray that God continues to protect you and he continues to give you the wisdom and the strength to continue to fight for oppressed peoples all over the world. I'm really appreciative to you. Finally, I want to end with words from a message that Comrade Chris put out today that I think everyone should imbibe and hold to your heart, right? Because we need a recommitment to this struggle, and it's not going to be easy, but there's no other way. And Comrade Chris wrote in his statement today, we are resolute in our determination to forge ahead with purpose and clarity of vision. We owe no explanation to detractors and saboteurs who wish for our failure. We have no time for their negativity. The path before us is clear, and we are steadfast in our commitment to it. And that commitment is to the liberation of our homeland, the Federal Republic of Amazonia. And finally, the insoluble cubes of AMBA sugar. They are meant to sweeten the tea from the Amazonia developed ration Andu and Tole tea, and will poison any La République du Camerounais who thinks they're going to deny us from having our freedom. Let's keep moving together. Let's keep moving forward. We are getting there. Please join us this Thursday at 8 p.m. AMBA time for a very important AMBA Peace Plan Town Hall. Come and ask your questions. Come and be informed. Do not make decisions or do not come to opinions based on misinformation from detractors. People who are not in the field playing the game are making silly and stupid statements, and some people are hearing that and running with it. But when we say come and listen to the horse's mouth, that's where you need to go and listen and make informed decisions, not the people who don't know what the hell they're talking about. So this Thursday, 8 p.m. AMBA time, a very important AMBA Peace Plan Town Hall. I hear say no fine, my people then. Come, let's talk, and let's do this together. God bless you all. God bless the people of Amazonia.
Thank you, Dr. Ngwambe. Thank you. And thank you for reminding me about the message that was sent out today by Comrade Chris. I thought about reading the whole message here, but I just thought that we may not have enough time. That message, we will send it out there. And it is a very straightforward message that captures where we ought to be at this time. That we and that is what I'm saying, that we have to focus on that same message and build on it and continue to talk even to those whose hearts seem to be very hard. So with hardened hearts, we will try to break those hard shells of their hearts and reach inside and let them feel and understand where we ought to be. So, fellow Ambazonians, again, we have seen the beginning of the demise of La République du Cameroon. We have seen they are bleeding, they are wounded, and I'm telling all of you, sending a message to you all out there, it is time for us to put our personal differences aside and go in for the kill. Let's go in and take our country. No liberated people were ever given their freedom, fellow Ambassadors. No liberated people were ever handed their freedom. You have to take it from the oppressor. You look at the United States. They had to take their country, take their freedom from Great Britain. That is how it is. If you can sit there and cry and wail and roll on, nobody is going to give it to you. You have to fight for it. That is how freedom is achieved. You fight for it, and fighting for it means you have to sacrifice. You have to feel pain. Sometimes you have to bleed. But that is the price of freedom. And when it comes to this virus that has been eating our struggle for quite some time now, these internal squabbles, these conspiracies, these false statements, accusations, insults, left and right, that take 90% of our communications in the various fora. Please, it is time to clean our various fora. Let us clean our various fora of this toxicity. Let's clean it, sanitize it, so that our discourse is commensurate with the aspirations that we established at the start of this conflict, which is towards the liberation of the Southern Cameroons and Bazonia. Let us make sure that every action we make, every word we utter, falls in line with the goal of liberating the Southern Cameroons and Bazonia. Let us avoid negativity. Let us avoid insults. Let's avoid vitriol, unnecessary hatred, and bad language. that herb to poison the hearts of our various comrades who otherwise ought to be with us. But they are just put off by such expressions and manifestations of hatred that ought not to exist amongst comrades. It's unnecessary. It's unwanted. And lastly, I would like to talk about the establishment of our diplomatic mission. You know the advantages. I've explained them here. From making sure that henceforth we push aside, completely get rid of that appellation, terrorist. Because by the establishment of this diplomatic mission, nobody can call us terrorists anymore. They cannot. Because no terrorist opens a diplomatic mission in Washington, D.C. and flies their flag above the building. Nobody does that. It will give us now a physical location where we can meet with diplomats and talk about Ambazonian business. It will give us a chance to intervene and assist our various citizens scattered all over the world, needing help, direction, and protection. It will give us a means to assist our refugees. It will be a place for our advocacy to spread the message about the injustices that our people have experienced for over 60 years to the international community. So, fellow Ambazonians, this is a good thing. Let us embrace it. Let us celebrate it. That is our own safe space. When you are persecuted wherever you are in the world now, and you are able to find yourself in the Ambazonian mission in Washington, D.C., you are untouchable. You are protected. You are in a safe zone. It is ours now to keep and cherish and protect and make use of. I hope we take advantage of this. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you all for watching the show today. I look forward to seeing you again in subsequent episodes. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I say take good care of yourselves and each other. And Ambazonia is making progress. Good night.